Good morning, Internet. My name is Lauren Severe, and I missed my upload yesterday. Sorry, life, children, things happen, things get in the way. But yeah, so I'm really excited to come back today because I am filming my very first ever book review. And not only is it a book review, it is an authortuber book review. Man, really got to work on that, huh? That whole tongue-tied thing. It is a book review of the book The Laws of Founding by authortuber Nicole Mckeon. Her second book in the series, The Eververse Chronicles, is coming out in August, I believe. Nicole, please correct me if I'm wrong. And because of that, she's been doing a lot of marketing and promotion, and she actually gave me an arc of her second book. But I'm the type of nerd that if you're going to give me an arc of the second book, I have to read the first one first. So not only did I read it, I also live tweeted exactly how I felt every minute of this exciting ride while I was reading it. And let me tell you, there were a few real funny tweets. If you want to check out my live tweet session after this book review, just search on Twitter #LOFLiveTweet. I will put it in the description below. But before we go ahead into the book review, I have to say, do you love my shirt? Do you love it? Do you love it? Another authortuber, Billy, also known as the Underdog Author, actually made this because of a tweet thread that A.S. Howell, it's a quote from A.S. Howell, one of her tweets that he made into a shirt. A.S. Howell, Jenna Moreci, Nicole Mckeon, Aphrodite Lee Hope, Billy obviously was one of them. There were a bunch of us in this tweet thread, and it got really kind of funny and long and just crazy fun. And so he actually made a t-shirt on Teespring, and I just feel really awesome in it. I feel like a fangirl. My friend has a tweet that's made into a t-shirt, and I am wearing it, and it's got a zombie hand on it, so extra points for a cool factor. So first things first with this book review. I want to kind of go over the structure for how I would like to conduct book reviews on this channel. I am not currently like a part of BookTube and all that. That could change in the future. I mean, I like to write, I like to read, whatever. But typically speaking, these are just going to be my thoughts and opinions on a piece. Of course, you're allowed to have your own. And also, like Mary Poppins once said, a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down, right? So I like to start with good things that I liked about a book. I don't think I'm ever going to do just a solely negative review just because if I didn't like it, I'm not going to review it. You know, that's how you'll know I didn't like it. You know, just like Thumper said, man, a cartoon children's references today. But just like he said, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all, right? Well, that's how I like to live my life. So, for the book reviews, I want to start off with the good things. The spoonful of sugar, right? Here is what I would like to say about Nicole Mckeon's first book in her series, The Eververse Chronicles, called The Laws of Founding. There were a ton of good things. So many, in fact, I had to write them down. Yes, I draw smiley faces on my notes. Anyway, she has a really beautiful use of language. There were a couple of times where I was actually taken aback by her use of language, her descriptions of things, her reminiscent moments. And they were a little bit few and far between. If the entire prose was like that, I feel like it would have probably distracted me from the actual plot. But there were some times where I just stopped reading when I was reading this book and went back and read a section over again just because I wanted to luxuriate in the way that she used language. It was beautiful. It was masterful. Especially her descriptions of things, they were very, very vivid, and that is probably the highest compliment I can give to any author, published, self, indie, or traditionally published. There's only been a few books that I've read, and I've read many, but there's really only a few books that I can honestly say I have felt that way about. And so that is like a gold ringing endorsement from me. That's like the first thing I want to say right out the gate about this book, was the use of language was incredible. The second thing was the world building, and I actually addressed this in one of my LOF live tweets. She created a world, the author created a world in this book where Arthurian legend, Irish folklore, Star Wars references, futuristic cyborgs all coexist. But not only do they all coexist, they do it well, and there is a reasonable explanation for it. And not only is there a reasonable explanation, every time that like a reference happens in the book, you find yourself going, yes, that is so awesome. I never would have thought of that. If you've ever seen the movie Ready Player One, which was really nostalgic for gamers because there were games from all across, like game fandoms and everything else, as well as a lot of pop culture and 80s references, it's similar to that. I think the tweet that I had mentioned this in, I explained that like the different parts of the Eververse and the different like references that are made, it's like Disney World as a kid. They're all separate rides, but they all exist in the same park, and it makes it so much fun. So yes, kudos to the world building. I really, really loved all of the different references and all of the different aspects of the different communities and cultures and pop culture and just everything that she got to cram into this book, which is obviously a labor of love. The next thing I want to talk about are the gripping characters. Mainly, there is a strong romantic subplot, and the main guy is hot. H-A-W-T, all caps, exclamation point. Hot. There were a couple of times he made me a little mad and frustrated, but I think that's true of any good relationship, that you get a little mad and frustrated. So I'm still shipping you. Anyway, the last thing I want to talk about that I think Nicole did really well, where there were a few references of sexual assault and violence against women in a sexual manner that I think were very timely but tastefully done, to where I don't think it would trigger anyone, just because of the way that the situations were approached. They were done respectfully. They were done, in my opinion, true to life, while still being politically relevant and relevant in the culture and climate of Me Too and the Me Too movement. And I liked that she had a strong, independent female character, regardless of those instances, it was just like one or two. It wasn't overwhelming. But again, I thought that was something that was very timely and very well done in this book. Now that we're done with the sugar, on to the medicine. Honestly, I don't have a lot of medicine for this book review, and that's not just because I like Nicole and I consider her a friend of mine on the internet. On the internet. I wish all my internet friends were like real life friends. Wish I could meet all you guys. Anyway, but there were a couple of things. Nicole knows all of this as well because I did discuss it with her before obviously filming and posting a review about it. One thing was that this book is lengthy, okay? Even by my standards, and I like a good, long, drawn-out plot, but it was kind of a lot to get through. I tried reading this basically all in one day because I'm, not the fastest reader. My husband's way faster than me, but I'm a pretty competent reader, and I couldn't do it all in one day, which for me as a busy mom was a little bit disheartening because I really only had my husband helping me out for like the one day. And so I kind of had to like finish up like in between feeding my son and, making sure that I'm taking good care of him and everything. And so it left a little bit to be desired just because I wanted to be able to finish the arc of the book in one day. But again, on the other hand, I like a lengthy book, so it's not a super bad thing. But it was a little bit long. So if you're looking for a quick, easy read, this one ain't it. The use of, there was a crutch word that I found she used just one really specific time that it actually distracted me. And it was just one of those little filler words that, you know, sometimes can sneak into your prose, and you can just, it slips your mind before you catch them, you know, and you don't catch them before publication. And it only distracted me, like it was only a distracting instance really in one scene of the entire book, which I mentioned was long. So kudos, because I'm sure my prose is riddled with them currently as I'm editing. Anyway, and the only other thing is that, what was the last thing? I didn't write it down. The last thing, it was just one little thing. I think it was the fact that the end felt a little bit like it was obviously setting up for the second book, and it wasn't one of those super cliffhangery ends, but it felt like there was a lot more like continuing world building, and then it just ended. You know, and so I feel like there could have been a little more resolution near the end to give readers a little more satisfaction while still wanting more going into the second book. But other than that, this book was awesome. 5 out of 5 stars. Don't worry, I will be putting that in Amazon and Goodreads reviews as well. All of this in detail, expedited, you know, because I can only talk for so long. Anyway, that is my book review. My first book review of The Laws of Founding by Nicole Mckeon. Remember, if you'd like to see my initial reactions throughout the process of reading this for the first 2 days that I read this and finished it, it's going to be at #LOFLiveTweet. Go and show Nicole some support if you like the idea of sort of time traveling, space traveling fairies who like get to go to lots of cool places, or you're a big fan of like mixing worlds and things like that. Please check out this book and support your author-tubers and self-published and indie authors. Anyway, this was super awesome. I hope you liked it and that I didn't ramble too much. Y'all have a great night.